Welcome back on the AM show, and we're going to be talking about some of those 7 constituencies that have all swung the way of the New Patriotic Party on the back of the EC's re-collation exercise. And of course, there are 9 of them, 2 still outstanding, including Domi Kwabenya. But we'll be looking at the Tema Central constituency, which has now turned blue, though initially the result pointed to its turning green. We'll get into the nitty-gritty, but we are joined by Dr. Rashid Tanko, Computer. He is Deputy Head of IT and Elections with the National Democratic Congress. You can see him in your shots there in NDC colors, of course. What can you expect? Well, Dr. Computer, a very good morning to you.
My brother, Benjamin, how are you?
Hello, Doc. Can you hear me?
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Hey, Ben, can you hear me? Good morning.
I can hear you. A very good morning to you. I hope you're well.
I'm terrific. I'm terrific. Let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and to the good people of Bimbilla and Woolensey constituencies.
All right. Thank you for joining the conversation. Let me also acknowledge Charles Forson, who is in the studio. He has been declared the Member of Parliament elect for Tema Central. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Great. I'll come to you in a bit, but Dr. Tanko, reflecting on what has happened so far, what are your quick reactions in terms of the 7 constituencies that have now gone the way of the New Patriotic Party?
Well, let me put it on record that, like I stated on Saturday, I was there. I went there to address the media, and I told the whole world, point blank, that whatever was going on there was completely illegal. It was a charade, a calculated attempt to rig the elections for the NPP, and we're not going to accept anything coming out of that place. Why am I saying this? Like I said it, we filed a process at the High Court. Yes, the NPP also came with a writ of mandamus. And then, interestingly enough, instead of the judge to consolidate the two, because any ruling that he was going to make on the writ of the mandamus was going to have a direct effect on our issues, because ours was about stopping the Electoral Commission from doing any re-collation, because we believe strongly that the law doesn't permit that. And based on what Madam Jean Mensah wrote to us in 2020 about the Techima South issue, so we're very clear in our mind. And so we're surprised when the judge refused to consolidate the two, made a ruling for the mandamus, which was directed at the Electoral Commission, of which we're not party. And so we couldn't make representation there, and made a sweeping ruling for them that they should go ahead with the process of collation and all that. So our lawyers had to argue that, no, our case too is dependent. You need to hear us. And you know, definitely the judge will have to go by his first ruling. And that's why he came out and said he was allowing the Electoral Commission to go ahead with the collation and recollation of the 9 areas. Then we rushed to the Supreme Court to file a process and to arrest what happened at the High Court, stay of execution. And then this one was served at the police. IGP was joined into it, then the Electoral Commission as well. And it's a trial knowledge in law that anytime a process is filed at the Supreme Court for stay execution, because you have you are running to them for them to protect you with the kind of ruling that went at the High Court. Otherwise, if they don't give you that protection for the 7 days, in order to give you that briefing space for them to look at your case, it's a trial knowledge. Then this Electoral Commission, because they have been very lawless in everything they are doing, they went ahead to organize this recollation exercise on Saturday. That's why we said we're not going to be part of it. Unfortunately, some of our people did not know this. They were not aware that we had filed another process at Supreme Court. So they went there. That's why I had to come and stop them and ask them to leave the place. We should not participate in that illegality. By any case, even what they granted, what they even did, look at the Tema Central one. The gentleman they brought that very morning, to do the collation for them, as describing himself as a deputy returning officer. Everybody will know him. Everybody know that gentleman, Francis Chum, a guy in Wool NPP. Everybody knows him. Just go and Google his Facebook wall.
Dr. Tanko, those who work with the Electoral Commission, you will definitely have some people who have affiliations to or affinity for the NDC, the NPP, and other parties. Does that bar them from working with the Electoral Commission?
Yes, the law bars them. They bar them completely. That is why.
Are you saying they can't support? You know, the Electoral Commissioners, you know, the staff and all of that, they vote too, right? Or are you talking of open participation in politics?
Open participation in politics. This gentleman is openly known to be a member of the NPP, and I'm saying that evidence abounds. What kind of diligence did they even do to pick him into their district? And they brought that gentleman that morning. You saw that the returning officer of Tema Central raised some issues and says he wanted the two parties to come on board to address the issues before you could proceed. Then these commissioners, because they had a wicked agenda against NDC, brought this gentleman to do the declaration for them. That's the kind of illegality they perpetrated for Tema Central, the good people of Tema Central. And we are not going to allow you to lie low. We will make sure that we use everything legally within our mandate and within the jurisdiction of Ghana to stop this illegality.
Okay, final bit before I come into the studio. This bit about a deputy returning officer, how do you feel about that, legally speaking?
It's not known to the law. The CI 127 doesn't recognize anybody as deputy returning officer. The CI 127, Check Regulation 2, is talking about returning officer. And then they are talking of the commission may appoint assistant to assist it. They didn't say the deputy returning officer. There's a difference between an assistant and a deputy returning officer. The law doesn't talk of a deputy returning officer. So where they have gotten it from, that's why I'm saying the Electoral Commission, in fact, is fast becoming the most lawless institution in Ghana. They just sit down there and do things that suit them.
So just to cap it off, what you're saying is that with this recollation exercise and the 7 new members of parliament, well, some of them are being retained, and Sawame, Duajiri, and other places, you are saying this is illegal. Just confirm for me. Is that what you're saying?
Benjamin, it's completely illegal.
All right, thank you.
And we will not recognize it. We will not, as a party, will not recognize it, and we will prevent
you very much
from happening.
Let me come to Charles Forson in the studio here with me. And so initially, the thinking was that Ebi Bright had taken Tema Central constituency. And now we're hearing that you, Charles Forson, actually are the winner. But walk us through this process. Initially, with all the rancor that has characterized the process, how did you feel on election day and all this while? What has it been like?
Okay, let me extend a warm greetings from Joy FM to your cherished listeners and viewers, and Tema Central in particular. Now, prior to we going into the constituency coalition center at about 10 p.m., December 7th, we knew we had won.
You knew you had won?
Yes.
How did you know?
No, we've done the coalition. We had all our 148 pink sheets. We had it manually and we had it digitally.
Okay.
And so, you know.
And this was incontrovertible evidence?
Yes. The numbers do not lie. Election results are a number game. And you cannot concoct numbers.
Okay.
So when we were going in there, we knew we had won. We had our pin sheet, we had our computers with all the numbers, and we had the numbers printed them. So I mean, this issue of somebody winning, somebody hasn't won, doesn't come in.
How do you think it came to be then that Ebi Bright was declared the winner? When the recollation was done, which the NDC claims is illegal, and which in the past was not done per CI 127, there was a different vote, but now it says you polled 15,800 and Ebi Bright a little over 15,400. What do you think went wrong the first?
There hasn't been any recollation. We were doing, we began from Saturday around 11, the presidential. About 4 a.m. in the morning of Sunday, we were done with the presidential. But the NDC said they had a different number, so we had to recollate the presidential. At about 9:30 thereabout, we were done. We were about starting the parliamentary. When tax trooped in, so the process was truncated. We were called in again. That was when the tear gas and what have you. I'm sure you heard. They called us again in the afternoon. And from the NDC's end, they said insecurity. So it had to be moved to the regional command on Wednesday, which we argued, and it was brought to Tuesday. But in the morning, the Metro director called that we should come the Monday to the regional command at 8, which we went. We were doing the coalition, we got to 146. Then the agitation was so strong.
Agitation from what?
From the thugs, from the NDC side.
Thugs?
Yes, thugs, yes.
Why do you describe them as thugs?
Yeah. No, haven't you seen the videos?
No, I'm asking, why do you describe them as thugs?
No, they came in.
What were they doing?
They destroyed everything that came on their way. Everything, canopies, name them. They smashed all windows at the police. Evidence are there. So I think the Metro director, the EC Metro director, referred to his superiors. They advised that the process should be halted and to be continued the next day. Then the NDC came out that no, they will use the 146 to declare. So they took an A4 sheet.
When was this?
That was on Monday at the regional command, the police regional command. They took an A4 sheet. This is a picture of it. Wrote NPP, NDC, independent, wrote numbers on it. Then because the place was so tense and everybody was running for their, they got a Tama West returning officer or an officer to come and declare them. So in all this, I'm wondering.
They got whom? The Tama West?
A Tama West, an officer from the EC.
Because I heard of an incident where a returning officer from one constituency came
Tama West. I don't know whether he is, but I know he's an officer from Tama West. Now, in all this...
And when you say they got, are you referring to the EC or the NDC?
No, I don't know who got it, but because we were there when they said that they had to, because if they don't announce it, they are not going to allow anybody to leave the premises.
Right.
They've overpowered everybody, including the police.
Were you there at this
Yes, I was there. I was locked in a room. No, I was there in a room. No. You couldn't step out.
Okay.
Yes.
And you were there. Were your agents there?
No.
Were you there alone?
As in the room where I was.
Yes.
Yes, I was there with my people.
And these thugs, purportedly, were they still around?
They were in the yard, but I was locked in a different room.
Okay.
Yes.
And because you're suggesting that this, what name would I? So
purported declaration.
Not even that. The person doing the declaration was under some sort of duress.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Duress. The crowd was outside, but you say there was duress.
Yes.
To what extent was there duress?
No, according to the report from the EC directors.
So I'm asking you, I know what the EC has said. I'm asking you because you were there.
Yes, because I was there when they came and then the process was truncated. That we were told that the process will continue the next day.
Right.
And that the 146 that has been collated should hold, and then we'll continue from there for the other two to continue. Yes.
I see. And because at some point, the thinking was that the EC had nullified the results. That was why I was talking to you about re-collation. So eventually, the counting process continued, right? The counting process continued.
Only yesterday.
Eventually. Yes, that's what I mean.
Yes, please.
Eventually, that happened.
Please.
And you believe that supersedes the earlier declaration that gave E.B. Bright the nod as MP because the constituencies, the polling stations had not been completed,
yes, please.
Right?
Yes, please.
Okay. The point has been made that you can weigh the number of polling stations that are left. And if you see that there's a bit of a gap between two candidates, and even when you add all of those others, it will not add up to that number, you can go ahead and declare. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree.
All right. And that is exactly what was even done in the presidential election, looking at the difference and even if everything was added on. But in this instance, the difference then would be what? That the remaining polling stations
when the two
would have
added
significant numbers added on for both sides, and you couldn't tell, right?
Yes.
You couldn't tell how.
No, we have done our numbers. They knew the numbers that once the two polling stations are added, they are going to lose. That was why they brought in all the fighting, all the distractions.
The numbers that we have, are those the numbers you had?
18,000, yes. 18,870, yes. And they had 18,815. Yes.
I see. You have what? 18,870.
18,870, yes, please.
And then 18 what?
815.
815.
From the 148.
Okay, that is with the two others.
Yes, please, added.
I see. And you're suggesting that they knew this. That was why they were
they knew.
Trying to create some
yes, please.
Chaos at the
please.
scene.
Yes, please.
The NDC, and I will allow Dr. Rashid Tanko to come in a bit, but they are saying re-collation per CI 127, per what we have in the law, is illegal. And that all you have to do is to go to the High Court to address the issue. Now, if you look at previous elections, and of course, Techiman South has to be mentioned, though I've heard different people talk about why maybe the circumstances could have been different in Techiman South. The Electoral Commission, on principle, decided that no, it wasn't going to go down that road, and that if any party felt aggrieved, they should go to the right quarters, aka the High Court. Do you dispute that? You
see, I don't know that of Techiman, but I can let me contextualize it in the case of Tamasentra. You see, we were in the process of completion. We've got into 146 out of 148. You see, if you allow it to stand, meaning that the next election, nobody is going to campaign. People will go for arms. And then once they call it just two, and I'll put gun at somebody's, is that what we want as a nation? No. Let us go to, in the case of Tamasentra, there hasn't been any re-coalition. We were, the process was
just the continuation of the process.
And then they called somebody, wrote it on a piece of paper. This is what they wrote. Ask them whether they signed the declaration sheet. There's a declaration sheet.
Did your agents sign
this? No,
your agents signed.
No, yesterday's.
Yeah, not yesterday.
No,
this one. Did your agents?
No, yesterday was a handwritten on an A4 sheet.
Talking of when it was 146 and the declaration was made, did your agents?
No, they did it alone. We weren't there.
You're not answering my question.
No, my agents were not there to even sign.
They were not there to sign.
Yes, please. Nobody's signed.
Okay. But you know that the fact that they are not present also doesn't mean the process.
Of course, that I know. Yes. Okay. I do know that.
So go ahead.
Yes. So I'm saying that if you allow such impunity to stand, meaning that the next election, the next Assembly's election, that is 2027, people with machete, people with machine guns would then mass up at coalition center and declare in 2028. That is why in the wisdom of everybody, we should allow this thing to be cured now and now. Because if we allow it, it's not going to augur well, it is not going to develop the democracy that we've fought so well for since 1992.
Do this very quickly for me. Re-collation. Now, precedents are being set. The NDC side is saying legally they will take on the matter, and we'll see how that goes from there. If injunctions are brought on the process in the High Court and all of that, only God knows whether you will be able to serve your term, which could create other legal impediments. But quickly, so you are for re-collation in the sense that it is happening now, because we are setting precedents for the future, and maybe you or others could be affected in a different way in the future. Looking at what the CI says versus what is happening, are you okay with it? You think it's the right thing to do?
I mean, in my case, in
your case, in my continuation, right?
Yes.
I'm asking you about the general bit about re-collation and the 7 constituencies.
The 7 constituencies. Look at the pattern. Or there were attempts to seize the process midway.
Yes, but the law specifically states that whatever the case may be, you go to the High Court.
I mean, with just A4 sheet scrambling numbers on it. No, I don't think we should have to allow such a thing to happen.
It's not what you think. It's what the law says.
I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer. But they were in court. We were also in court. And we all heard what the lawyer said, the judge said. And we all heard what the lawyers argued on. I'm saying that let us cure it from the root.
Okay.
Else, 2027, during the assembly election, we are going to have a chaotic situation. 2028, same thing will happen because the person with arms will end up winning.
And so the cure is what?
It's that we allow the processes to end. If there are 148 polling stations, pink sheet, we need to tally all and get the winner. We don't have to use guns and then tear gas.
Okay. So the duress you speak of was what exactly in respect of the returning officer? What was the? I want you to pinpoint the duress for me.
No, they were shouting. They said that if they have to declare the NDC candidate as a victor, else nobody will leave. They have video evidence.
Shouting was the duress?
Shouting. No, they were locking, smashing just everything that comes on their way. It is not shouting. I believe you've not seen the videos.
No, I just want you to clarify. I am interrogating matters here.
Yes.
I want you, from what you saw, what you think, because we've heard different things from even your party, different accounts. So I wanted you were on the ground.
Yes.
What accounted for duress for you?
The duress is that if they do not announce the NDC's candidate as the winner, nobody was leaving the premises.
Okay.
They began breaking everything that came their way. Yes. Okay. Everything. Just name it.
Dr. Rashid Tanko, let me come to you. How do you respond to the assertions that have been made? 146 out of 148. My first question, why did you not allow the process of collation to get complete before the declarations were made? And why this person coming through from Tema West to come and make the declaration? I've heard your side talk about that situation. Address these two concerns for me first before we proceed. Dr. Rashid Tanko, computer. Hello, Doc.
My good brother there. Maybe he's not telling you the truth, the real picture.
So tell me.
The reason why it could not complete, they know. Two of the pinches had difficulties. He knows it very well. The one
what were the difficulties?
The difficulty is that you could not authenticate whether it was coming from the the presiding officer of those polling stations, because you know that when a pink sheet is to be concluded, it has to be signed by the presiding officer, date it, put the time that he is signing it, and then, yes, the date, the time. This pink sheet didn't have that kind of description. It didn't have that kind of feature completely. So it was in a difficult situation. Nobody was ready to accept that. We're having issues with that pink sheet, because it could be manufactured somewhere. Somebody brought it somewhere. Because in every presiding officer duty was to write his or her name on it, put a date on it, sign, signature, and then put the time that he has announced the results before the party agents will now sign it. This pink sheet didn't have that features. And you expect us to accept it. That was a problem we have with them.
So in other words, the pink sheets had problems with authenticity. That's what you're saying.
Authenticity. It has problem with authenticity. And we needed to clear. That's why the presiding
and you could not clarify that with the Electoral Commission?
That is what we're trying to do. And the problem emanated from them. And the returning officer knew it and said, I wanted the two parties to come and sit down. Let's discuss it. Look at it. Then these people, because they had planned to rig the places, they moved out the man and brought in a new person, Francis Chum, to declare him. He knows what I'm talking about.
but
that's
let me ask
the issue we're raising. So he was illegally announced as the winner of the place. He was illegally announced. And that's why we said we would recognize it. He knows the issues. And I'm saying that he's holding a paper and saying that the results was written on the paper. Then he's condemning what happened on Saturday. Do you know that I have a North-South West resource was written on TANOSAF summary sheet. A different summary sheet from different region was brought there and cancelled. They just cancelled on top of it and wrote Ahafanosa and used it to declare somebody. Now he should compare that one to what he's talking about. These things happen on Saturday. All these things he's talking about, it happened on Saturday. They were just changing papers and writing, cancelling names and writing other names on it and using it to declare. That's why I describe it as a charade, a concert party activity.
Let me ask you, these pink sheets that eventually were used, the last two polling stations or polling centers, do you still have issues with them?
We have. We still have issues with them.
What are the issues?
I'll just give you the issues. Any pink sheets that come out from a polling station must have these features. Are you with me? It must have these features.
So yes, you mentioned the presiding officer, dating, and all of that. The presiding
officer, yeah, that's why the signatures are important. His signature, what is it? There was no signature of presiding.
Do you have, when you did your collation, right? Because the NPP did its own collation, you did your collation, which is why you were even able to come out with your presser when Sami Jemfi addressed the nation, mentioning that you had won X number of seats and that you were winning the presidential. With your details, what votes did you get for A.B. Bright?
Oh, A.B. Bright won the election fairly.
What votes did she get?
Well, I don't have my file here. I would have given you the figure, but she won fairly. I can give you the figure.
But you know, to be fair to the conversation, you've seen what the EC has declared on the back of 148 polling stations or polling centers. 18,870 for Charles Forson, 18,815 for A.B. Bright. If you're countering it, you might as well come with figures.
Yes, I'm countering it based on
the two pinches. Be able to tell me what your collation
the two pinches. The two pinches. Ben, I'm saying that we had done collation for 146, as you rightly said. No comments about that. We had issue with two pink sheets. And those two pink sheets were challenged. And we are saying that if they were to add those two challenged pink sheets, they were going to declare Charles Forson winner because they were not correct pink sheets. So we're challenging those two pink sheets and said that no, we must look at it critically because it lacks the proper features of a pink sheet. And so if you take out those two pink sheets, Charles Forson knows that he was not going to win. And that is why the returning officer says that he also has challenged with it because he wanted to be sure that these two parties, let's come and sit down, discuss it dispassionately. And the results that came out from those two polling stations. But these people refuse. So what I'm saying is that if you take out those two pink sheets from the totals, Charles will know that he's not going to win the election. He knows it.
Now, these two pink sheets have been used anyway. You have initiated court processes, and some of them have been thrown out, including Irabna Obin's situation. As far as these pink sheets are concerned, for you, they make this election of Charles Forson an illegality. Is that your position?
Completely illegal, because our fact is that having gone to Supreme Court to file for this stay of execution and serve same or the IGP and then the Electoral Commission, and you know it, we're seeking reliefs that we have run to them to protect us. If we allow these people to go ahead with it, we will lose that kind of protection that we're demanding from the court. And they know it's a trial knowledge. 7 days period, no action is going to be taken. Why would the Electoral Commission, they went ahead to do this kind of illegality, declare people one after the other. A concerted effort they would just put in place to continuously declare all of them. In fact, they would have declared all the 9 for NPP. It was a planting. It was just a planting until the Abdulkumanov, the returning officer, stood his ground and said he was not going to continue because he was not ready to use those kind of scanned copies being brought by the NPP, forcing him to accept them and use it to declare say. He stood his ground. And in fact, we have to give him a star of the voter. Because in the face of this, force of intimidation, he said, no. And we were there, our team was, when I got there, I saw what was going on. And they were forcing me, he can use those scanned copies of the NPP guys to declare the result. And he said, no, he cannot continue the process. That is what they were doing. That's the kind of illegal, the level of the highest form of lawlessness that is.
Speaking of illegality, the claim has been made that in Tema Central, there were NDC thugs who besieged the point of declaration where the collation was being done, where the returning officer would declare the final numbers, and sowed the seed of chaos there, for which reason it had to be paused, and also the pink sheet saga you made mention of came into the fray. How do you respond to that?
Ben, we cannot take the words of Charles Forson as the true facts of what happened.
I'm not saying they are the true facts. I'm asking you what happened.
I am saying that we didn't. Our members didn't go to vandalize anything. They didn't go to attack anybody.
He says they did.
What he's saying, you see, that has been their words. And we are saying that NDC law 284, section 20, talks about issue of intimidation and vandalization or bribery of electoral officers to get a declaration. And the right place to go for such matter is the High Court. Under Article 99(1) of our Constitution, 1992 Constitution. It's very clear there. So it does not lie in the mouth of somebody to sit and say that because this thing happened, we should go and do recollation and other thing. The right place to do is, that's why we went to the High Court and told them that, look, recollation is not known to our laws as of now. It's not known. And even as of 2020, Madam, and I was happy you were telling him, Madam Jim Mensah, the same similar fashion, wrote to us that they cannot do recollation so long as they have declared the results. That one is finished, unless you go to a higher authority, which is the High Court, for them to think of either to set it aside or accept it as it is. We have it. And in the same fashion,
right.
That what happened in Tema South, Tema Central, happened in Techima South. Similar one, no different. The only difference is that Techima South, people were killed. But Tema South, nobody was killed.
I've heard lawyer Frank Davis suggest that, in Techima South, it was post the declaration, that these incidents happened, and unfortunately we lost some lives, and that different from other instances where, according to him, an axe was being held to someone's head. But I'll ask you this again before I come back into the studio and wrap. Do you have figures, not just for Tema Central, but do you have figures for some of these areas, for example, where the collations are being done, where you can state that if all the polling stations were added up, your candidates would win? You have these, right, per your collation? You do, right?
Yes, we have, Ben, we have. In fact, the system we're using, we use the same system for the presidential and parliamentary. So we knew our results as we're going through. By 11:30 midnight, we knew the direction of which the election was going. So we have clearly, we have across. That is why. But
you were not just using the presidential results and juxtaposing them for the parliamentary, right? Because people.
No, not at all. These are two elections.
Okay.
But I'm saying that the system that we used in collating the presidential was the similar one we used for the parliamentary. Okay. And so we knew what was going on. But they were different elections altogether. Because you cannot compare that one at the same. They are not. These are different elections. And people could vote the way they vote presidential and go and vote different.
So finally, let me just get this out of the way, because we are wrapping on the conversation. So what then happens to Tema Central and some of the others that have been declared for the New Patriotic Party? You say there's a pattern and that all 9 will be declared for the New Patriotic Party. What then is the NDC doing about it? I've seen literal threats on social media that come January 7th, when the new administration takes over, certain things are going to happen. What legal actions is the NDC going to take?
Very well, Ben. You saw the statement by our General Secretary, Honorable Fifi Koti. We're very clear about in our mind what we intend doing. We have a case filed before the law lords at the Supreme Court. We'll pursue that one. We are going to pursue it because we believe strongly that what happened at the High Court was a travesty of justice. And therefore, we're not going to allow it. So we'll pursue the legal direction of it. And because we filed this one and believe same that it arrested the situation at the High Court, the first declaration so made by the returning officer stands. There are the people who were validly elected per the ruling of the returning officers.
All right.
That is what the CI 127 has indicated. Until otherwise determined by the Supreme Court, we will still hold on to the first declaration made by the presiding officer.
Thank you.
And not the what happened on Saturday.
Thank you for that, because indeed that process has been forwarded from the High Court. Irabana Obin, for example, I said that this was not right in law, and the apex court of the land will deal with it. But I'm going to conclude with you. I've given both of you ample time to, so these are wrap-up comments. Any reactions?
Yes, please. There are two pink sheets in question. One, he wasn't there. The doctor, he's a doctor, I believe.
Dr. Rashid Tanku.
Yes, doctor wasn't there. Now, they claim the presiding officer did not sign, but they had two agents. Agents signing.
You mean the exercise conducted just this Saturday?
No.
Which one?
The pink sheet.
The pink sheet?
Yes, he spoke on two pink sheets. The two remaining yes. Yeah. The first one, they said the presiding officer did not sign. But yet, they had two agents the two agents had signed both. Our agent has signed. And you remember?
Their agent and your agent had signed?
We had one agent, they had two. Okay. Both of their agents had signed. And when we were at the command center, the EC had to call the presiding officer to come in person. They interviewed him. They asked him...
Which of the returning officers? Was it the one who was brought from Tema West?
No. I'm talking about the presiding officer.
Oh, okay.
Who forgot to append his signature in the name and the time. They called him in there. So the pink sheets...
How could he have forgotten to append the signature and the date and other crucial details were not on it? How does that...
But if you do remember...
make a pink sheet valid?
If you do remember, we went to... in 2012... the presidential election that we took to. The Supreme Court said that because the inability of a presiding officer to sign does not invalidate somebody's people's vote. We are talking about over 300 or 400 votes. And NDC is saying that they are going to quash it because the presiding officer did not sign. But yet, their agents co-signed the pink sheet.
So you think because their agents have appended their signatures to it, that is...
I'm not saying, but that is the truth. I'm
saying once their agents have appended their signatures, you feel whether there are problems or not with the pink sheets?
There are no problems because in the presidential one, let me come to it. In the presidential one, there were some that presiding officer did not sign. They admitted them. How come this? Because once we add the two, they are going to lose. The second pink sheet.
So you're suggesting they knew that? That was why they...
The second pink sheet, they claim they don't have it. Do you understand? There are two pink sheets. One, there wasn't, the signature of the presiding officer wasn't in there. The other one, because they had lost, they said they don't have it. But we had it, the EC had it. In any case, we have both the NPP and the NDC had the photocopy of what, the duplicate of what the EC. So the issue of, what do you call, pink sheet not being signed is just an afterthought. They knew from Saturday, December 7th, from 11 p.m. that they had lost the Tama seat, and we've retained it.
How does all of this make you feel, though, especially with the process at the Apex Court and everything following from there? It means that maybe your position may not necessarily be that safe, that stable, because they are saying that based on the evidence of things, on the face of things, the initial declaration made by the returning officer is what stands on the back of 146 with the problematic pink sheets as far as the last two are concerned. And that
I wanted to ask
this situation then means that the declaration made just a few days ago on Saturday is invalid.
But the declaration made in Tema was made by who? Was made by who? He himself said that it's supposed to be a returning officer.
Right.
Was it made by a returning officer?
Was it a deputy?
No,
or was it from a different
constituency? An officer from
and they have raised issues with that as well.
With what?
With that situation where someone from a different constituency had to come and do the job after the initial one had been done by the returning officer.
Yes.
On the back of the 146.
Yes. No, I'm saying that
they have raised issues with that. That's the point I'm
with 140 with the 148. No, I'm not getting the question you are.
I'm saying the initial declaration that was made,
yes,
which
please.
had E.B. Bright declared as winner,
yes,
was done by a returning officer.
It wasn't done
of the Electoral Commission.
No, it wasn't done by a returning officer.
Who did it?
The man who did it, I'm told, is the Metro director for Tama. The municipal director for Tama West.
Was not that person an electoral officer?
Yes.
But not a returning officer?
Yes, please.
And they had to then bring the Tama West returning officer to come and do this?
You see, I'm talking about on Monday, December 10th. The one who did the declaration is from Tama West. He's also not a returning officer. I'm told he's the municipal director.
My point exactly. Then it means that in both instances, and that is one of the points they raise about this other person who also was brought in to make a declaration. But my question basically...
But he is from Tama Central. He's from Tama Central.
The second person was from Tama Central?
Yes, he's from Tama Central, yes.
Okay.
He's the assistant returning officer.
And deputy assistant... Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer was playing on words, saying it is important. That nomenclature doesn't even exist.
I don't want to go
as far as... Why don't you want to go?
You see, we were there. The EC officers were there. The man who, the returning officer for Tama Central, Mr. Kwesi Broby, said that his life was under attack. He couldn't sleep at home. The wife, so many things. Based on that, he was willing to waive his right. So that they brought in his assistant.
And this assistant had been known to both of your parties,
of course,
throughout the process?
Yes. In fact, he was the one doing the announcement when we were at the police command. He did the numbering, mentioning all those figures.
Just give me a quick one, Dr. Tanko. Had you known of this assistant at the start of the process?
Ben, like I rightly put initially when we started, I said there is nothing like a deputy returning officer.
No, I got that point. I just want a brief one. Did you know of any such person at the outset?
They recruited. They have a lot of staff members who work at the EC there. And so when they at the collation center, they have a number of people who assist the returning officer in carrying out their duty. But when it comes to the real decision making, it is the returning officer, not the assistant. The assistant have no business there.
I'll give you 30 seconds when I return. Let's wrap this conversation. 30 seconds. So are you in any way concerned about your position going into the 9th Parliament?
No, we are motivated to work even more because we need to claim back the presidency. We need to work more. There's nothing. It's a normal game, as I keep saying.
You need to claim back the presidency?
Yes, it comes 2028.
It's interesting you bring that up. Yes, I've noted many things said about why you lost. Have you even contemplated why you lost before you think of regaining the presidency?
I mean, it's a strategical approach. We are working in so many, but the issue is we need to win the presidency. We have 2028 contend. We lost, but we all know the issue. We in the party know why we lost. We are working on it assiduously.
Okay,
yes.
All right. That's it, right? You have no concerns?
No.
Getting into the 9th Parliament?
I mean...
placing your boots to work?
To work. And also, nobody can threaten anybody. I mean, we are all men. You understand? Some of us are quiet and silent.
What do you mean by you are all men?
We are all men because I keep saying that. People are saying that, I will come and burn your house. Everybody is a man. But when push comes to shove...
Who has said he will come and burn?
I mean, there are so many threats out there. You have EC officer openly saying that he cannot do it because his life is in danger. That of his family. Nobody should threaten anybody.
All right.
You see, let us...
Rashid Tanko Computer, you have the final word.
Computer, you are a computer man. Do the numbers. It is a number game. Let us do the numbers, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Dr. Computer, final words.
Well, Ben, as he rightly put it, it's a numbers game. We did the numbers and we beat you people very well. We beat you both presidential and parliamentary. So we know the numbers we are dealing with.
Contextualize
we didn't mince words in our numbers. We were very clear in our mind with our numbers. And that's why we beat you very well in the presidential and beat you handsomely again in parliamentary. So we are very clear in the numbers. And we are not going to allow this illegality to stay. We will prevent it through legal means and make sure that the right person is put in parliament. Not because, the argument is that we have won plenty seats, so why are we worried with this one? Yes, the people voted for the right people, not some crooked electoral officers who come and manipulate the process to get their cronies in parliament. We won't allow it.
All right. Thank you very much. And this has been quite the conversation with Dr. Rashid Tanko, Computer. He is Deputy Head of IT and Elections with the National Democratic Congress. In the studio, we also had the recently declared Member of Parliament for Tamale Central.
Tema
Central, I beg your pardon. Tema Central. And of course, that is going to be contested per the NDC's motion, their writ at the Supreme Court. But as of now, we can only wish you the best on that journey as you get into the 9th Parliament.
Thank you.
Well, before we get into our next conversation, if you're thinking of this Christmas doing something amazing, I'm going to tell you about the most epic deals out there. Get the best prices on premium brands like Samsung, LG, TCL, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Midea, Nasco, Tecno, Infinix, itel, and many more. If you're thinking of laptops, desktops, printers, TVs, air conditioners, fridges, home theaters, mobile phones, CCTV, and many more, well, there's only one place to go. I'll tell you shortly, but you can win instant gifts and cash prizes up to 2,000 Ghana Cedi just for answering a question this December at, haven't you guessed yet? CompuGhana. Visit your nearest CompuGhana branch nationwide or shop online at www.compughana.com. All you have to do, pick up your phone, call 0302 752 020 to make those relevant inquiries. Merry Christmas from all of us at CompuGhana. We'll be right back after the break.